What's going on, family? It's your brother Assad,
And it's Adrian.
and we are back again with a quick video. But before we get started, I first of all have to thank all of our South African family for all of the support that you guys have been showing this channel. It is just overwhelming, and we really, really appreciate it. Uh, the love is amazing. I've gotten so many emails from South Africans inviting me to Bride, saying, when you get down here, look me up. We'll grab a cup of coffee. I'll show you this place. I've gotten book suggestions and all kind of stuff.
I've been doing my job on these phone calls.
But so yeah, it's been real. Number two, the next South African American dialogue will take place Wednesday. Wednesday, next Wednesday coming up. Next week, I forgot the date, but it's I know it's at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time here in the U.S. And nope, scratch that. It's at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time here in the U.S. 7 o'clock South African time.
Yes.
Let me repeat that. Next Wednesday, the second South African American dialogue will take place. It is at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time in the U.S. and 7 p.m. in South Africa,
I
South
believe it's
African
the
time.
15th.
Think it's the 15th. All the information will be in the description.
Yeah.
What else? Like, comment, and subscribe. So our children, our children gave us, they're 11 and 9. Was that boy 11 or 12?
11.
He's 11, about to be 12. Yeah. So they gave us, they watch a lot of YouTube. They gave us some pointers to make sure that we always say like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. They said you need to put in the little graphic with it.
Yeah.
Maybe soon. Okay, so we got the housekeeping stuff out of the way in 2 minutes, so that's great. So
So,
color. I wanted to play my iced tea colors. Colors. Anyway, that's before your time.
no, it's not. It's not before my time.
So when we had a comment, a follower, and first of all, I want to say thank you to her because she challenged us. She said, "Why do you always talk about South Africa in terms of black and white? There's this third group, the Coloreds." And she said she could remember hearing the stories of her grandparents not being able to ride on ride on the bus or being discriminated against right along with black South Africans. And I appreciate the challenge because here our perceptive lens in the United States, or coming from the United States and looking at South Africa, and this is wrong, but this is how how perception works.
Yeah.
We saw colored as just another group of black people, right?
Yeah.
And we have learned more since we originally went to South Africa. But keep in mind the term colored for black Americans or for Americans at one time exclusively referred to black Americans. We were called colored, right? The the longest, oldest civil rights organization in the United States is called the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And colored people were black people. We used to have white only restrooms and restaurants, white only restaurants and restrooms, right? And colored only restrooms, right?
Colored entrance.
Colored entrance. So when someone would say, so when we saw colored and we looked at the phenotype, and we said, oh, they're just black people, the way they would be grouped in the United States. And then coming from New Orleans, right? Well, we have a subgroup here in New Orleans who are called Creole. Now, Creole people historically are a mixture of French and Africans and maybe some Spanish. New Orleans was under the control of the French and the Spanish probably longer than it was under control of the United States of America. Yeah. And so there's this mixture. There was this mixture that was created of these people, but they today readily identify as black people. And the way they kind of kept that color tone, that skin color, was to kind of marry each other, not marrying white people or not marrying darker skinned black people. They married people who were kind of the same hue as they were. And so they created a subgroup of African Americans here in the United States or here in New Orleans who we call Creole. They have some of them have French last names and stuff like that. But
Spanish last name.
right, Spanish last names, but they say they're black. They are black people. They have voted in the black voting bloc. The first mayor of New Orleans, first black mayor of New Orleans was a Creole man, but he readily identified as an African American. He is the first black mayor of New Orleans. So we tried to make that comparison, say, oh, coloreds are like Creole, but we were wrong.
Yeah, we were wrong.
We were wrong. No, coloreds are a distinct, separate group, and it's erroneous. You are in error to try to, number one, make them just like black South Africans because they have a different history. They have a different culture, and they have a different origin story, right?
Yeah.
Right? They do have black South African in their genetic DNA, but there's a lot more there. And they again, they have their own culture. They speak Afrikaans with a colored dialect, which this kind of separates them and distinctly defines them again as a third race, a third group. So even though my American eyes see another black person, when I see AKA, I see another black person.
You're light skinned.
I see a light-skinned black person, right? That's what my American eyes see. But in South Africa, we have to retrain our vision, retrain our minds. So what are some things that we learned about the colored population and their history?
Well, one thing I learned that I thought was really interesting is just the amount of variance in their genetic background across provinces, right? And how, like, there's Cape colored, which has a certain sort of history and genetic background compared to coloreds that are in KwaZulu-Natal. So, and I also had, questions like, oh, do they even the ones in KwaZulu-Natal, do they speak, Afrikaans as well? Is it or do they have the same culture like across provinces
as the ones in the Cape, right?
It's questions that I have,
Yeah.
Then you have the Cape Malay, which
those are the Muslims.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the Muslims.
So I, just that level of like genetic variance and mixture was pretty fascinating to me.
Yeah. So I learned a lot from watching Young CPT, right? I didn't go all deep and scientific and historic with it. I watched Young CPT. And so for those who don't know, Young CPT is a rapper from Cape Town. And when I think of CPT, I think of Compton, but it also Cape Town. I do think of Compton. Dre and them had a song called CPT. He said they killing people in the masjid. I said, damn, in the masjid? Wow.
I don't know.
Cape Town.
I was like, oh, Cape Town is like that?
I didn't know.
I didn't know either.
I
so
didn't
beautiful
know.
to have you fooled.
I did
you're
not
in paradise
know.
And get ran up on.
We are walking in Bocap, just walking freely with our babies. We went to that restaurant, Bismillah.
Oh, so good. Too.
Yeah, man.
So good.
He was like, Young CPT was like, yeah, we, they shoot people at the masjid. At the masjid, dog? What? Are you serious?
Because their guard is down.
God's supposed to be down. They praying. How you gonna kill somebody worshiping?
Man.
But yeah, this brother's really intelligent though.
Yeah, make you want to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and talk.
The brother's really. He was on the Mac G podcast. I think that's the brother's name, Mac, and I'm a subscriber, so I watched the Jub interview. That's a real big story in South Africa right now. But anyway, so Young CPT, the way he explained colored, and if you got, I'm gonna preface this by saying these are his words. So go and check him out. If you guys disagree with him. He was like, colored people at times were jealous of black South Africans.
Did he say colored people or he was?
No, he said colored.
Okay.
I think he made it a group thing.
Okay.
Right? And if I'm wrong, I apologize. in advance, but I think he made it a group thing. He said they were jealous of black South Africans because the black South Africans knew their history and their ancestry and culture and all of that stuff. And the second thing he said, he was like, we are like the bastards, uh, children of rape. And I know it's a very sensitive thing to say, you know what I'm saying? And he, again, those are his words. Go and check him out. But when he said that, it struck a chord in me because that colored story, if that is his perception of it, is very similar to the Black American story.
Yeah.
You know, here we are. You know, we are constantly trying to find our ancestry, constantly trying to find our place in this world, and not physical place, but the place in the historical landscape. And I want to be clear for my African Americans jump on here. We do have a history and we do have a culture that we have formed here in the United States, and it is rich and it is vibrant and it is beautiful, but it was formed in captivity, right? It was formed under the watchful eyes of our oppressor. So there's some limitations on how that culture has developed. There's been um,
Yeah, I
some
mean
parameters.
that really strikes a chord
Yeah.
because it's not just rape of a colonizer to the enslaved.
Mm,
We were bred, you know,
that's
like
true.
animals, like cattle,
Yeah.
forced to breed with other slaves. So then there's an
Mm,
element of rape even among
yeah.
the enslaved.
The idea of consent.
There was
There's
no
no
consent,
consent. Yeah. No consent.
none.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
deep.
man.
That's deep. So when he said that, I was like, you know, there's this connection that we have with black South Africans because of the apartheid struggle and Jim Crow
Right.
and that stuff. And colors obviously were you know, a part of that. But
Mm-hmm.
then when he made that statement, there's this, I guess, maybe deep rooted psychological, emotional connection
Right.
to the colored, as he said that. But now we learned a little bit more about the colored history, and they have their own rich history and
Mm-hmm.
culture. So, but when he said that, that really it struck a chord, you know, and
Yeah.
it really shows that there is you can be worlds apart and live in parallel lives,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
worlds apart and live a parallel life. And black people are living several parallel lives, you know,
Mm.
black Americans, I mean,
Right.
yeah, and black South Africans too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, the one of the questions you and I had was if someone is biracial
Right.
today,
Today,
are they considered colored?
post apart.
Post apartheid.
So if a Zulu man marries a, I don't know how possible this is. I mean, Afrikaans woman.
Yeah, I don't know if they do a lot of interracial
I don't
dating.
know if they do all
Yeah,
that, but if let's say
yeah.
they do, they get married and they have a child. Is that child
Is he colored?
um is he
Trevor
colored?
Noah
Yeah.
said that they tried to make him colored, but he wasn't colored. So I think there's a clear distinction between just being biracial
Right.
and being colored. However, here's the tricky part. So if they do colored marry like black South Africans, uh,
Yeah.
you know, they do.
No, that I mean I'm
Oh,
agreeing. Like that's a
yeah,
good question.
yeah. Do
How
they?
often does that happen? Is it
Yeah, do they stick to their? This is our culture. We're going to marry our own because
right?
that's kind of the way the Creoles did here in New Orleans. We're going to stick to marrying other Creole,
Mm-hmm.
and then over time, that kind of changed. You know, wasn't enough of them to go around,
Right.
so they had to get
They were
some.
too small of a
Yeah, they had to get enough
But there was
of the
also
black
their
folk.
reasons for sticking and marrying one another, right?
Yeah,
There were social consequences to that.
right.
They were treated better and given more privileges based on that.
And that's
Light
another
skin
question.
and features. And so that was like, no, we got to hold on to this.
So if I'm not mistaken, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that during apartheid, colored had preferential treatment during apartheid.
Mm,
I believe I got that right. I believe I read that. And so I wonder if that is, does that still influence their mating practices and marriage practices?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, do they still hold on to that, the fact that they were given that privilege And does that privilege still exist? Okay, we know that there is some privilege that white folks still have in South Africa.
Yeah.
But do coloreds still have preferential treatment now in 2021, right? Based on their proximity to whiteness.
Right.
Or did that change post apartheid? So those are questions that I have, and hope you guys can help us answer these questions, because I'm truly fascinated
Yeah.
by this colored culture.
Right.
And you know what, another thing that love my black South Africans, I love my black people, but it's the coloreds who are mainly the Muslims in South Africa. There's a Camp Malays. Oh, I was watching the Nigerian movie, and there was a movie, and the fly was just buzzing around. I was like, y'all didn't see that in the editing? Y'all didn't catch that in the edit? I caught it. Nollywood, yeah. Nollywood movies be on the chain, boy. But look, yeah. So I wonder, like, shoot, I forgot what I was talking about.
The Cape Malays and Muslims.
Oh, the Muslims, yeah. So they the majority of the Muslim community in South Africa come from this colored community, because I guess it's the Indian influence, and from the subcontinent or whatever have you.
Is that real? Because there is a very large Muslim community that is also comprised of like large Indian communities. Like I know that's what somebody told me in Johannesburg. Or like a lot of people who were from different places that were
Muslim.
But you're talking about like indigenous too.
What I'm saying is black folk, or people who are, well, I guess you're right. Colored. Yeah.
Was this?
Black and colored folk. Right? Where do I find the Muslims that look like me? That's the question.
I'm sure a lot of West Africans.
West Africans, yeah, probably so, yeah. The Muslims that look like me got some nappy hair. You know, that's what I'm talking about. And nothing wrong with my Arab brothers, my Arab brothers. I found out that Arab is offensive.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So it's Arab. And I know that as a Muslim, but down here we be like, the Arab brothers. And I didn't know that Arab was offensive. I know how to pronounce Arab for Islamic purposes, but just regular everyday. So for my Arab brothers and sisters, that's cool. But where do the Muslims that look like me be at? Be at.
But a lot of people tell it they in Hillbrown areas like that. They say all the foreigners.
Well, I'm gonna be right around the white people praying. Nigga, ain't right.
I'll be right like a sore tongue. Asadelmalik.
Oh man, that is crazy. But it was something else that I wanted to talk about as it relates to our colored brothers and sisters, and I think I'm forgetting.
More questions, or
something
you learned?
Well, we learned about their DNA, and like that some of the DNA, like for the Cape coloreds, it's more is it Khoisan?
I think so, yes.
Khoisan and Dutch. But then for those in KwaZulu-Natal, they have more Bantu and
like Indian, I think.
Indian, yeah. Yeah, so they're just different.
I don't know. Like across provinces, is there a color connection?
Did we mention do they support like the ANC and stuff like that?
I don't think so. I mean, it's a good question. Like, where do you fall politically?
Yeah, and what
your interests?
And what side of the apartheid? I don't know. I guess they were victims of apartheid,
right?
But and what side of the struggle were they standing on the side of Black South Africans in the struggle against apartheid?
I guess yes, yeah. But I don't know.
They had some very interesting things that we learned about Gandhi and his let's call it what was it? Anti-blackness. It's racism. Yeah. Dr. King patterned his his entire movement after Gandhi, but Gandhi made it clear that he was an Indian slash, well, an Indian, and that black Africans were beneath him. Yeah, he was. That's interesting. Interesting. I don't know, man. Look, 20 minutes. We could wrap it up.
We can wrap it up.
We could wrap it up. It won't be a 30-minute show. So, thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Shout out to my South African family. The next dialogue will take place next Wednesday, 7 o'clock South African time, 7 p.m. South African time, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time in the United States. All of the information will be in the description, man. We look forward to it. And yeah, anything else to add?
Nothing. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, man. You guys have a good one.